Hey friends, you are with Kim Byers at the Celebration Shop, and today we're working with iron-on from beginning to end. So we're going to use multiple colors of iron-on, and I actually have some pattern iron-on too. And so I'm going to show you how to get everything ready in Cricut Design Space. Then we're going to cut everything out, and then we're going to apply it with our Cricut EasyPress. So I hope if you like what we're doing here today, you'll give me a thumbs up and you'll join me every week for new videos. I tend to give away a lot of free cut files. Speaking of that, the one that we're using today is down in the description below, free to you. All right, let's hop over to Cricut Design Space. Okay, so here we are in Cricut Design Space, and so I've gone ahead and pulled in my file. And if you don't know how to do that yet, if you don't know how to upload using the upload feature here, a file, I'm going to place a link to my video. It's a really short video, but it'll kind of walk you through how to upload files and when to use a PNG and an SVG, and so you can look that over really quick. So basically I brought in my design, and now what we want to do is we want to resize it, we want to change colors, do any kinds of those things that we'd like to do. And when I designed it, I put it into groups. So Run is its own cut by itself, Isaiah is its own, and then I did keep And Not Grow Weary together, although you can take them apart if you'd like using the contour tool, and then She Will. So what I'd like to do is I am going to use two different colors. I'm going to make Run its own color, and then the rest is going to be a separate color. So what I want to do is go over to Ungroup. I'm going to ungroup everything. So now everything is individual, so I can just grab the word Run, and I'm going to go up into Colors, and I'm going to change that. So you can choose a color that's very close to the iron-on that you'll be using, or if you feel like you need to sort of look at it and make sure these are the colors you want to use, you can go into Advanced and make sure that you pick something very close to what you're working with, just to kind of get an idea of what things are going to look like. Now my tank top is yellow, and I wanted to do some bright colors, so I'm going to be using like a pink here or an orange. I'm not quite sure yet, a pink or an orange. And then for She Will and for the other letterings below, I'm going to be using a light blue. This might be a little closer. Now when you do this, just make sure that you do choose colors, like you don't make this one blue and this another color blue when you truly intend to use both of them as the same color blue. And the reason you don't want to do that is because it's going to put them onto separate mats when you go over to mats. So if you ever aren't sure that you chose the same two colors, you can go to Color Sync and just see how many colors or how many things you have in each color set. So we only have two colors. Okay, and so this is iron-on, and so when we get over to matte, of course, we're going to need to remember to mirror these things. But before we get over into Make It, what I'd like to do really quick is click on the entire thing. We're going to select all, go back into layers, and we're going to regroup it. Okay, so I want to see how big this design is completely. So like how big it's going to be on my shirt. So my shirt is roughly 16 inches across, but for my size, I typically don't like a design to be wider than 8 inches. 7 to 8 inches usually works for my t-shirts. And then this one is roughly 8.5 inches long. Now, if you don't like that Isaiah is way down by itself, the really cool thing is when you ungroup them, you can move Isaiah anywhere you want it to be, right? So you can move it and center it, or you could even, like I was telling you, use the contour tool and break these two apart and not stack them and then have Isaiah underneath. You can do all kinds of things with it, just depending on what you want to do. But for today, we are going to select all, and I know now that 7 inches by 8.5, and that actually works great for my t-shirt. Now, if it didn't, you can go up into size, and you can make it bigger or smaller, and because this is locked, it's going to make it proportionate. So you don't have to worry that you're going to get things out of whack just by putting in, like if you wanted this to be 10 inches across. Okay, and so now we're ready to make it. We want to go up and make sure that we have the right machine selected. So we're going to be using our Cricut Explore Air 2 today, and then we'll select Make It. Okay, so you notice that these items are together, and not grow weary, Isaiah 40:31. And then she will is by itself. So if you wanted those groupings to be, that is perfect. If you wanted she will to be above, and like you wanted everything in blue to be in the exact place and you don't want to do any placement, you would be able to go back in. Let's just show you really quick. You would be able to go back in and select she will, and then use the shift key to select the rest. You can look over in layers and see that run is not highlighted. And then you would be able to attach all of those. So when we go over to the mat, everything is in its correct location. And then you would just cut out and make sure you save, you know, that piece of iron-on. But for me, what I would really like to do is I want to detach those, and then I'm just going to attach these two. So not grow weary and Isaiah, and see they're already attached right here. Okay, and so then when we hop over to make it, so I love saving materials, So I'm actually going to put she will up inside of this. And when I cut it out, I'll leave Isaiah connected so that it gets in the right place, but I don't want to waste that little piece of iron-on. And so I need to mirror it. Now, when you move things like I just did, just make sure you go back and check and see if it shifted, because it did. And so now I'm only using 7.5 by 4.5 inches of material for this shirt in the blue. And then we'll want to hop down and mirror the word run as well. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so now our machine has connected, and what I'm going to do is go into browse all materials. Okay, there's so much iron-on. Everyday, mesh, mosaic, which I have yet to make projects with those, but I have them, and I have them queued up to make very, very soon. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to learn how to use those. And then we have foil and glitter, and I love glitter, holographic. There's so many different ones. Of course, the infusible ink transfer sheets and the patterned. I am in love with some of that patterned iron-on, especially for Christmas, guys. If you've not checked that out, check that out. And then Sports Flex. Now, I have some Sports Flex, and I actually thought about using it for today, but it works best on dry fit materials. And what I'm using today is actually a cotton. So we are going to use Everyday Iron-On. And I'm going to go ahead and star that. That means that it will show up in my favorites from now on. We'll click done. And there's nothing for clamp A. And we're going to use our fine point blade in B. And we're just going to leave the default pressure. Okay, so let's hop over to the craft table, and I'll show you what we're working with, and we'll go ahead and get everything loaded up to cut. Okay, so here we are on the craft table, and let me walk you through what we're going to be working with today. So I have my tank top, and I got this from Amazon, and it has just a ton of colors. I'll put a link to this down below. And I have my iron-on colors. I have my clear acrylic ruler, which I love using for everything. And then I have, this is actually a paper trimmer, but I use it to cut all of my vinyl and my iron-on and everything, just to keep everything clean and making sure that I save as much material as possible. I love to use my trimmer. And then I have my EasyPress mat, and I did pull out a couple of pattern sheets just to show you guys. This is iron-on. It's two, but it's just a pattern. And I'm not going to use it today just because my letters are kind of small and there's a lot of white in this, but I am really loving, I mean, it's a lot the same colors. So depending what you were putting on your shirt, I mean, this could possibly work. The letters for run actually have a knockout in them, and so if it didn't, this would be great for that, but because it does, I think I'm just going to stick with solid colors for today. But I wanted to show you guys that because they have some beautiful patterns. Okay, so let's clear everything out of the way and we'll get everything set for the mat. Okay, so for my first color, I need 4.5 by 7.5. And so what I love about my paper trimmer is I'm going to be able to just trim out what I need. So actually this little piece, I went ahead and measured this, is a little more than 4.5 inches. Okay, so we're going to cut our blue first, and what you want to make sure that you do is that you put the shiny side down, so the protective layer down. And so you'll go up to the corner, put your iron-on in place, and you can use your scraping tool to put it down, just to make sure everything's right where it should be. And we're ready to go to the machine. Okay, so here we are at the machine, and what we want to do is put our mat down and load. Okay, and so on your Cricut Explore Air 2, what we need to do is we need to move this over to vinyl. Oh, sorry, not vinyl. Forgot what I was doing there for a second. Move it over to iron-on. And so if you were using something beyond everyday, you would want to go over into custom, but we're just using everyday iron-on. So this setting will be great. Okay, and let's go ahead and hit cut. Okay, so we've cut out our first color. Now when you have vinyl or iron-on and you're working to get it off the mat, make sure you flip it over and you bend the mat, not the material. Pull it right off. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and do our second color, and then we'll weed both of these. Okay, so we've cut out our second color, and now I want to introduce you to the bright pad. This is not necessary. Some people, can weed just fine without a bright pad. Certain colors give me trouble. And candidly, I had to start wearing reading glasses not too long ago, and so I find my bright pad very, very helpful. But whenever you are weeding something out, a bright pad, I'm not sure if you can see this on camera. It's so easy to see in person, but you're able to go in and get all of those details without worrying that you are going to snag or mess up the material that you're working with. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do is measure our shirt and make sure that our design is exactly where we want it to be. So for this shirt, it's 16.5, so 8 1/4 would be our center point. Always check your shirts because some, depending on how they're made, it might not, shake out just that way. But I think this one's pretty good. So what we're gonna do is we're going to take the U and run and make that our center element. And then we'll take our ruler out of the way. Put our N in place. Okay, and then what I did whenever I was weeding this, I left Isaiah in the correct spot. And so we just want to center it. And always use our ruler and make sure everything is right where it should be. I measure, guys, and measure and measure and measure. And because this is sticky, if you want to, once you've got it where you think it should be, you can pick it up and sort of put it on a hanger or something to see how it would hang. Again, because every shirt is different. Okay, and then we have She Will. Okay, she will run and not grow weary, Isaiah 40:31. Looks pretty good, right? So now we have to heat up our EasyPress, and I'm going to put the link down below for you, but we'll check the temperature and make sure we have everything set before we use it. Okay, so I measured and measured and measured again just to make sure. So I literally measured each grouping of letters to make sure that they were the same distance from the edges of the shirt. If I'm gonna put this much work into something, I really want it to be fun and pretty when I get done. So I recommend lots of measuring. Okay, and I checked out the heat guide. And so we need our temperature to be 315 for this shirt, 30 seconds. And these two types of materials are the same, or these two iron-ons are the same. So I'm not going to do them separately. I just went ahead and put everything on, and then I'll be using my EasyPress. This is actually the smallest of the three, besides the mini. So I will be doing it in 2 sets. So I'm going to do the top half, and then I'll do the bottom half, and we'll flip it over and do the back, and we'll do a cool peel. Okay, so you just take your EasyPress and you lay it over the entire section that you're working with, and then press go and give it gentle pressure. Okay, and then when you lift straight up, and then we'll move over to the second area and we'll do it again, and then we'll flip it over. So now we will take it off and put it back on its tray, and then we're going to flip the design over. Okay, so now we've flipped it over and we are going to do the back side for 15 seconds. So our shirt has cooled off some, and so now we are going to attempt a peel. It's coming up, it's coming away really easy, but what I recommend, guys, is go slow and go at an angle. Always go at an angle when you're pulling off the backing material. Okay, so what did you think? So I hope you enjoyed working with iron-on from beginning to end, and I hope that if you like the cut that you'll hop down in the description below and grab that for free. I also put links to everything we used today, so you can check those out if you want to. I would love for you to give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and I hope that you will hit that subscribe button and join me every week for new videos and new craft ideas. And guys, candidly, I give away a lot of free cut files, so I hope you'll take advantage of those too. Oh, and please leave me comments down below. If you have any questions or you don't know how to do something or you're looking for something, please leave me a comment and I'll do my very best to get back with you. All right, guys, see you next time.